Hi guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. So as we said yesterday, we're going to take a field trip today. And what we're about to watch is 8 years ago. This is O.J. Simpson's parole hearing. So he did go to prison for almost 9 years, and then he was up for parole. So that's what we're going to watch today. We're going to watch that on regular speed.
Our responsibilities include needing to balance prisoner rehabilitation with public safety, as well as taking action that considers the interests of justice. So that's what we're doing here this morning. We have adopted a guideline to assist us in making consistent decisions. We apply the elements and factors of our guideline to each inmate being considered for parole. A component of the guideline is our risk assessment. The board uses a scientifically developed, validated risk assessment as part of its parole guideline. The risk assessment helps us determine which inmates are more or less likely to return to prison if we release them on parole. Using a risk assessment is not unique to Nevada, as a number of other state parole boards also use them. We have revalidated our assessment 3 separate times in the past 14 years and has consistently shown to be predictive. Using this risk assessment has significantly improved our overall performance. I'm going to go over each of those items of the risk assessment with you at this time. And just as an aside, this risk assessment is being revalidated even as we speak by the JFA Institute. So it's pretty darn predictive is the bottom line here. So my first question for you, Mr. Simpson, were you arrested for the first time at the age of 24 or older?
Did I was arrested for the first time, I think, at the age of 46 or 47.
Okay, so you were age of 24.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and am I correct that you have never been on parole or probation before, therefore you have never had a parole or probation revocation?
That is correct.
Okay, and I have that you were unemployed at the time of this offense because you were in retirement status.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, now this is a property conviction. We're currently hearing you on the robberies and the enhancements, and so you have been assessed as a property offender. Now we've also assessed you as having a substance abuse problem. I'll tell you why that is. You have indicated also in the past that alcohol had a big factor in this particular crime, and the fact that you have spent the last almost 9 years in prison because of an alcohol-related incident would be indicative of having some sort of at least temporary substance abuse problem. So we have scored you with having some history there.
We have you as male, and we have that you are currently, well, very recently turned 90 years old. 90,
I'm sorry about that.
I feel like it, though.
How about we take 2 decades off and call you 70? Okay. We don't have you as having any gang affiliation, nor has the NDOC found you to have any gang involvement. We do note that you have completed one of the vocational trainings in having completed the computer application course. We note that you have not had any disciplinaries, either current or pending, and that you're currently medium level there at Lovelock Correctional Center. Would you say that all of those items are correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you do score out. Your risk score scores you in a low risk. However, because of your particular offense, that severity is at the highest. When we combine your risk score along with your offense severity, our guideline recommendations are that we consider factors. Now, what consider factors means is we consider everything in terms of whether or not you're a risk to reoffend and return to our criminal justice system. And so what we do at this point, when we're looking at the risk score, we also look at what are called aggravating and mitigating factors. Now, aggravating and mitigating factors don't include everything in the world. They're very specific as to what we consider under those items also. So under the aggravating and mitigating factors in your particular case, we have mitigating or positive things for considering you for parole. is the fact that you've been disciplinary free throughout your entire period of incarceration. You don't have any prior conviction history. You have community and family support. You have what appears to be stable release plans. You have participated in programming, some rather significant programming. On the aggravating factors, and the only thing that fits under our aggravating characteristics in terms of risk in your situation is that at the time of this offense, your victims indicated that they were in fear for their safety, having been threatened with a gun during the commission of a crime. So those are the risk aggravating mitigating things we are considering. That's your overall risk score. Right now, I'm gonna stop talking for a while and ask the members of the panel if they might have any questions of you.
Yeah, Mr. Simpson, you live most of your life in the public spotlight. Yet you go into a hotel in Vegas, bring along 4 other men with you. 2 of them are armed, and rob the 2 victims of property. What were you thinking?
Well, this might be a little long. I'll try to be brief with it. I had been contacted by a man named Ricio. He had contacted me over a period of time, told me that there was some guys that was trying to get him to fence my property, and he thought I should come and get it. Well, I kind of blew him off because I'm really not interested in football property. I don't collect memorabilia, only my own personal items. He was pretty persistent in calling me, and finally I told him, well, see if you can get pictures of what they have. He sent me some pictures, and what I saw was my family, my mother's albums, pictures of my kids growing up, certificates of accomplishments of mine, pictures of what I call significant famous people, letters of myself. So I told him I would really like to get this stuff. So after a period of time, through what he described in court as the perfect storm, we all ended up in Las Vegas. You know, I was there for a wedding, and he told me that the property was there. And would I like to try to get the property? I said, of course I would like to get the property. He told me the names of what he thought were the people in the room, and I realized these are friends of mine. You know, actually guys who helped me move and store some of this stuff, right? So on the day of this incident, he came to my hotel to talk about how this would take place. I told him I met with a lawyer last night, and my sister and my daughter and some other friends, and discussed it. I pointed out another lawyer that was at the poolside as a part of this wedding party that was going on. I said I discussed with him, and they told me that I can't do this if we're going to their home or even to their storage. OJ, you cannot go in there, because if they ask you to leave, you got to leave. I said, Ricio, you got to get him to bring it to a public place. He said, well, let me see what I can do. All of this has been testified to, so I'm not just going, you know. He called me and told me he told them to bring it to his room, and he's going to have it brought to his hotel, and would I come and get it? I said, of course I'll come and get it. He says, a lot of stuff, OJ, you better bring some friends. Well, I had a couple of friends there at the wedding that was going to go with me. He also said you should bring security. And I said, well, I know these guys, I don't think I need any security. I mean, it turns out that one of the guys, Bruce here, I didn't know it was him. I thought it was another guy named Mike, a friend of his, an ex-partner of his. But I said, I don't need any security. Well, later that day, when they arrived at his hotel and spread out my property, he called and he said, they're here. You come here, I'll meet you in the lobby. And you need security, OJ. This guy, Beardsley, big guy, and he's a little weird. You know, I think anybody that knows him knows he's a little different. I still told him this guy is not dangerous, man, but he says, man, bring some security. During the day when he was there, he met people from the wedding, and one guy, McClinton, said he did security in Las Vegas, and it would help his business if he could have me as a client. I told him I didn't need him, but after he insisted that I bring security, I said, I can use your help. I went to the hotel. I met Mr. Riccio in the lobby. The two guys, they also met us there, which was a big mistake, obviously. I realized that quite soon after this. And Mr. Riccio led us to his room, put the key in the door, and let us in. I know I've seen the last 2 or 3 days the media reporting we broke in the room. Well, we didn't break in any room. Mr. Riccio brought us into that room. When I came into the room, I noticed spread out everywhere was my personal property. You know, the only thing I saw that was on display that wasn't mine was some baseballs, and I made it clear to everybody, those are not mine. All I want is my property, and I think there's a tape of it. You hear me on at least 3 or 4 occasions say, I just want my property. Go forward and try to make it a little quicker. At some point, we started, when we were leaving the room, actually I was being pushed out of the room by the security guys, because while I was in there and I recognized Bruce was there, I was surprised to see him as he testified. I was shocked really to see him. Bruce has been a friend of mine. He's traveled with me. We've done a lot of business together over the years. And he and I said, man, what are you doing here? You know, he explained to me why he was there and why he had my property there. And I told him, but geez, you should have told me. I accepted, I understood why. You know, it was 06, 07. People were losing their homes. A guy owed him money, couldn't pay him the money, gave him my property to sell. I told him I understood that, but you still should have told me. We had a chance to talk about this at a later date, and he apologized. I accepted his apology. I apologized for these 2 guys that got pointed a gun at him. He's traveled with me. He's known me when I've had security. He's known me when a venue has supplied security, and there were times he even had to act as security for me. He knows I would never, ever direct anybody to point a gun at him or even threaten him. I've never done this in my life. I want to point out, you mentioned all those gun charges. Bruce and Alfred, they made it clear during the trial that I had no weapon. They didn't feel threatened by me, and from what you said, and that I didn't threaten them. It was the other 2 security guys that did that. And I haven't made any excuses in the 9 years that I've been here, and I'm not trying to make an excuse now. They were there because of me, you know. But in no way, shape, or form did I wish him any harm. As I was leaving the room, and this was on the tape too, Bruce said, OJ, hey man, there's a box that's with that stuff. They're Montana prints. Those don't belong to you. Those are mine, man. He told me that because he recognized everything else that I took out of that room was mine, you know? And he also recognized that I wasn't there to steal his stuff, and he knew I would send your stuff at the desk. We didn't know at the time that this security guy, Walter Alexander, had stole his BlackBerry, you know, phone, but the minute I saw that, I made him send it back, and he gave some cockamamie story in the trial that why he didn't take it back. In any event, I'm no danger to pull a gun on anybody. You know, I never have in my life. I've never been accused of it in my life. Nobody's ever accused me of pulling any weapon on them. And Bruce knows that I would never do that. I never have. I want to also, as a postscript, add that, you know, when I got to Lovelock, the state of California took up the issue of whose property it was. They did an investigation, and they came to the conclusion that it was my property. They turned it over to me. I have it now, you know? So, I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling that they turned over to me property that I'm in jail for trying to retrieve. You know, it was my property. I wasn't there to steal from anybody. And I would never, ever pull a weapon on anybody.
So you believe that the property was yours?
It's been ruled legally by the state of California that it was my property, and they've given it to me. I have it.
My question was, that's why you went into the
Oh yeah, yes, sir.
hotel room, because you believed that the property was yours.
Yes, man. You know, whenever he was just telling me, when Mauricio was calling me, just telling me this, I wasn't interested. It wasn't until he got actual pictures of what they supposedly had, and because it was family photos and stuff, that's when I got interested in going there, and I only went there to retrieve my own property.
What were you thinking when the guns were being brandished?
Well, I didn't see the guns brandished. I didn't see, you say guns, as I understand it, one guy who was behind me somewhere pointed a gun at him. So I never saw him brandish a gun. When I left there, I called back to the room to ask Bruce, you said that there was some pictures, what do you have? And I asked him, did this Walter Alexander return his cell phone? He told me no, and he says, OJ, it wasn't cool that guy pointed a gun at me. I said, who pointed a gun at you? He says that, he kind of described who it was. To be honest, I didn't really believe him at the time. I asked the 3 guys I was with, they all said they didn't see him do it. I got back to my hotel, we waited for these 2 security guys to show up. And the minute they drove up, the first thing I said, man, did you pull a gun in that room? And he swore to high heaven he didn't. And I asked Walter Alexander for the cell phone, and he kind of threw the cell phone to me. But I wasn't aware until I was in the car driving back to our hotel that this guy had actually pointed a gun at him. Now, earlier in the day when he was talking to me, trying to get me to let him come, I didn't hire him. He said it was for free and all of that. He did show me. I didn't know this guy. You know, I knew the Alexander guy, but I didn't know this guy. He showed me his license. He showed me his CCR. You know, I've assumed that the state gives a guy a CCR and stuff. They vetted him. I should have vetted him. I didn't really need him. I knew these guys weren't dangerous. So that was on me.
Your version of the offenses differ a little bit of the official records, Mr. Simpson, but moving forward here, considering the fact that what we have on record,
Yeah.
weapons were brandished, you were there.
Oh, I was there. I
Was
mean,
taken.
I'm sorry.
So
Yeah.
my next question is for you, is what do you think was the impact on your victims?
Well, I know what the impact was. I mean, we've talked about it. I mean, Mr. Beardsley, we had long talks back then. He told me that he had tried to call my lawyer. He testified in court that he had called my lawyers and tried to tell them in the months previous that guys had my property and they were trying to sell them, but my lawyer never called him back. He actually testified for me, I'm sure you know, during the trial. Bruce and I talked, and you know, Bruce was traumatized by it. Fortunately, as I said, we talked it out. He knew that I would have never condoned what happened. He accepted my apology, and I told him that these guys should be put in jail. If they did that, you know, I wasn't going to defend them. Unfortunately, they got a G card when they say OJ told me. Nothing I could do about that. But I want to point out that, you know, Bruce, I knew his family. I mean, when his mother was terminally ill, I'd call, she was a fan, I'd call her and sing to her. The night before or the night of the jury's verdict, his son actually called me and tried to give me a head up on something to do with memorabilia and told me that he and his mother was cheering for me. You know, this family knows that I wouldn't wish any harm on these guys, ever. These friends of mine, and I think we're friends again.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Simpson.
Hey, ma'am.
I conducted your last hearing in 2013 with hearing representative,
Yes.
Mr. Robin Bates. You recall that hearing?
Yes, I do.
All right. At the time, we asked you what your plan would be if we were to grant you 2-year consecutive sentence. And you told us that you were going to complete the commitment to change. Have you done that?
No, I haven't. At one point, I couldn't take the course. You know, I took I took two courses that I guess you guys don't give much credit to. It's called Alternative to Violence. I think it's the most important course anybody in this prison can take because it teaches you how to deal with conflict through conversation. I've been asked many, many times here to mediate conflicts between individuals and groups. And it gave me so many tools how to use it to try to walk these guys through, not throwing punches at one another. Also, at one point, a couple of guys came to me and they said, OJ, I understand you're a Baptist. We're Baptists and we have no Baptist service here. Can you help us get a Baptist service here? I worked with them. We now have an ongoing Baptist service that's well attended. I attended religiously and plenty is attended. And I realized in my 9 years here that I was a good guy on the street. I'm sure when Bruce get here, he'll tell you I was always a good guy. But I could have been a better Christian, and my commitment to change was to be a better Christian.
All right, thank you. Well, we do know that you've programmed over your term of incarceration, and you have completed victim empathy, alternative to violence, both basic and advanced, and computer application. I'd like you to tell us a little bit more about victim empathy and alternative to violence, and how it will benefit you in the future.
Well, as I said, the alternative to violence courses, I've always thought I've been pretty good with people, and I've basically have spent a conflict-free life. I'm not a guy that ever got into fights on the street and with the public and everybody, but as I said, they give you a bunch of little tools about how to talk to people instead of fighting, instead of throwing punches. Tools that I've used here that, is how you talk to people, it's the tone that you use. The victim empathy was, once again, I didn't really see that, in this case, I didn't really see that Alfred Beardsley was really affected by it all, but Bruce was affected. Bruce was, I saw that he was affected, and as I said, I would have done anything not to have that happen. If for no other reason, I regret this because he had to have this guy point a gun at him. And he told me, he said, man, the guy put a gun in my face. And I said, as I said in the beginning, I didn't believe it, but I know it's to be a fact now. So, in that empathy course, it pretty much tells the guys who's all there. They have you talk to your victim and what would you say to him, if you were to see him now, and for you to take, responsibility for what you did and to recognize how it affected their lives. As I said, Bruce expressed to me how it affected him, and as I told him, I couldn't be more apologetic for him going through that.
Thank you. I know that alcohol was a factor in the instant offense. Have you addressed this issue as you stated you would?
Well, I think I made it clear back then, I've never had an alcohol problem. And if I took that alcohol course, it would have been more, for my children, in case they ended up having a problem. Well, my kids don't have a problem. I don't think anybody's ever accused me of having an alcohol problem or any kind of substance problem. Of course, on that day, I had drinks on that day, but it was a wedding celebration. But I've never had a substance problem at all. So I didn't.
Okay, well, you told us in our last hearing that you were going to attend an AA, and that's the reason for my question.
Yes, I know.
Was a factor in the instant offense. Hadn't you been drinking that day?
Yes, as I said, we were celebrating a wedding thing. I felt that the alternative to violence course and my involvement with the church, I also as recently became the commissioner of the softball league, 18-team league. My primary responsibility was rules enforcement and player deportment. Guys, it's hot. The guys play. They argue. My job is if they get surly with one another to remove them from the game, and if it goes beyond that, to go to Coach Fraley and have them suspended. I've never got any blowback from the guys because they know that I've done the best that I can, and I'm just trying to keep them out of trouble. So my agenda was full, you know, here. I've been active, totally active in all the years I've been here. I don't have much time to sit around and do anything. I don't know if that answered your question, but
So of all of the programs that you had an opportunity to complete, what do you believe is the most significant for you personally?
well, for me personally, it was the alternative to violence. As I said, I think that should be mandatory for every inmate here. You know, once again, guys get hot here, and you know, we've had our share of fights here, and as I said, I've been called in sometimes to try to keep guys from fighting. And you have groups, you know, it's the Serenos are fighting, the Northtown boys, they all, I mean, it's crazy. And most of the time it's over something really, really
correct?
stupid. You know, in a basketball game, somebody will say something to somebody, or somebody will go to somebody to complain to them about it, and it's how they complain to them about it that actually initiated the conflict, you know, the fights. So I for the life of me, I don't understand why that is not a mandatory course for everybody here. Excuse me, my mind is trying to think of the other things, but that's the course that I would recommend to everybody. I mean, I took a computer course here, not because I was computer illiterate, but I took the computer course because I sometimes I could never get my kids on the phone, but if you text them or send something to them on a computer, you can get them. So I actually took that course so I could better communicate with my children.
All right, and have these programs prepared you to return to the community setting?
I believe so. You know, I've missed a lot of time, like 36 birthdays with my children, and you know, I spent the 12 years leading up to this incident in Vegas raising two kids in LA. I mean, I'm sorry, in Miami. And you know, with all the media stuff, you know, we got these guys like Jeffrey Felix making up stories and stuff. That was happening out on the street also. But I was able to keep their eye on the ball. They had great grades. They went to the college of their choice, and I ended up missing their graduation because of it. Trust me, I wish it would have never happened. But as I said, the courses that I take, and I hope it helps me more if I run into those conflicts with my kids. I'm not a guy that has conflicts on the street. I don't expect to have any when I leave here, but I feel that I'm much better prepared. But more so from, I think, my commitment to being a better Christian, because I thought I was a good guy. I had some problems with fidelity in my life, but I've always been a guy that pretty much got along with everybody.
Are you humbled by this incarceration?
Oh yes, for sure. As I said, I wish it would have never happened. I was going to start, I didn't know how we were going to do this, by apologizing to the people of Nevada, because I wish this would have never happened. I apologized to him at my sentencing. You know, there's nothing I can do about this kind of media circus that's going on right now, but I could do something about the whole thing in the beginning. If I would have made a better judgment back then, none of this would have happened. And I take full responsibility, because I should have never, you know, I haven't made any excuses in 9 years here, but I should have never allowed these alleged security guys to help me, because it turned out they were only trying to help themselves. If they weren't there, Bruce and I, we tried to do this. We tried to sit down in the room and call this guy Mike Gilbert and discuss it all, but these guys took over and we were unable to do that. If we were able to do that, you would have never heard about this. None of us would be here today.
Okay, and lastly, I'd like you to know that we received hundreds of letters of support and opposition. And while we always encourage public input, the majority of the opposition letters are asking us to consider your 1995 acquittal and the subsequent civil judgment. However, these items will not be considered in this case.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Simpson. When we grant offenders parole, one of the conditions of parole we will impose is to pay court-ordered restitution to victims of the crime. According to the judgment of conviction, in this case, you and your co-defendants were ordered to pay $3,560 in restitution and return 12 Montana lithographs to the victims. Can you tell us the status of the restitution and the return of the property taken during the robbery?
Well, one, I was unaware of the restitution. I do know about the prints. When I was talking to Bruce on the phone and asking him, was there anything else that should be yours? He said, the cell phone, right? So I said, do you want to come and meet us with that, or or how do you want to do it? Mr. Cashmore, now the guy didn't know, Mr. Cashmore said, hey, I got to go by that hotel, I'll drop it off, right? He testified to this too. This is not an allegation from me. Mr. Cashmore testified to it. So I say, hey, this guy is going to come back, he's going to drop it off at the hotel. His testimony later was that he didn't remember the name of who he was supposed to drop it off to, and that they had decided to screw OJ, we're going to keep this stuff. I mean, this is his testimony in court. The last thing I heard is that he actually tried to use those prints the word, I can't find the word, to get his bail, with his bail bondsman. He was trying to use it as, I can't think of the word.
The restitution.
Restitution for his bail bonds. So the last that I know of these lithographs was that this Cashmore had them. I didn't know this guy, that he had them, and he testified to the fact in court that he had them.
The restitution was paid.
Yeah.
Let me ask you
The
this.
restitution was paid, I'm told, by my lawyer. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the total restitution has been paid?
Yes.
And there is no pending, the property has been returned to the lithographs as well?
I have no idea what this guy's, oh yeah, he says that they have been returned to him. I'm sorry, Bruce just signaled me that they have been returned to him.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, sir.
All right. All right. If granted parole as opposed to completing your sentence in prison, you will be under supervision in the community. Why is it better than in the prison?
Well, you know, I do have 4 kids. I've missed a lot of time with those kids. I think I am a guy who's always been a giving guy. I've, even on the street, people have always come to me, you know, my reputation has always been that I'm open to the public, I'm open to everybody, you know. Right now I'm at a point in my life where all I want to do is spend time with as much time as I can with my children and my friends, and I'm not looking to be involved with the media. I've had so many offers for interviews when I've been here in Lovelock, and I've turned them all down. I'm not interested in any of that. I've done my time. You know, I've done it as well and as respectfully as I think anybody can. I think if you talk to the wardens, they'll tell you I gave them my word. I believe in the jury system. I've honored their verdict. I've not complained for 9 years. All I've done is try to be helpful and encourage the guys around there, hey man, do your time, fight in court, and don't do anything that's going to extend your time. And that's the life I've tried to live, because I want to get back to my kid, my family.
All right. Do you realize that if you're granted parole, you could be returned to prison for any violation or conditions of parole?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. Now, some of those conditions can be easily as not drinking alcohol to excess, associating with ex-felons, leaving the state without permission, being subject to search and seizure. So there's going to be a whole slew of conditions you're going to have to have. And do you think you can be successful with in terms of parole?
Oh, beyond a doubt. I mean, I haven't drank in 9 years and I haven't missed it. You know, most of my life, I could be stopped and searched whenever they, you know, I'm not a guy who lived a criminal life. You know, I'm a pretty straight shooter. I've always tried to be a good soldier, and I have no problem, none whatsoever, in living with those conditions.
All right, so here's the other side of that. As an easily recognized person in the community, if you're great.
As an easily recognized person in the community. Yes, he is such a giving guy. He tried to give Nicole and Ron his knife like, what, 47 times?
Parole. How will you handle public scrutiny in the community?
Well, I've been recognized ever since I was 19 years old. I'm sure Bruce will tell you, wherever we've been, it's always a crowd. This is not new to me. Rarely have I even in the last 20 years, rarely have I even had any person give me any negative stuff in the street. I mean, people give you looks and everything, but I'm pretty easily approachable. I've dealt with it my whole life, and I really don't foresee any problem dealing with the public now at all.
Okay, and Mr. Simpson, since you're aware that
Explain the pre-release and interstate compact process for us. Captain Arudi is an officer with the Nevada Division of Parole and Probation. He's also the Interstate Compact Commissioner for the state of Nevada, so I'm going to ask him to come forward. And again, these are things that would happen behind the scenes with any hearing that we would have, but because we have a crowd of people that are asking questions, we thought it'd be best to have Captain Arudi present to explain it to everyone.
Thank you. I mean, I could easily stay in Nevada, but I don't think you guys want me here.
No comment, sir.
Good morning, Captain Sean Arudi from the Department of Public Safety, Division of Parole and Probation. As Chairman Bisbee shared with you, I serve two roles. I'm a captain with the Division of Parole and Probation for headquarters, and I also serve as the commissioner for Nevada for the Interstate Compact. When it comes to the Interstate Compact, the things that are looked at is what is your support system in that other state? Are you a resident of the other state as defined by the compact, meaning that you were living there for at least a year prior to the date that you committed the offense? Or do you have resident family there that can serve as your support system? And resident family is fairly specific, but adults, siblings, and...
I don't doubt that he is a giving guy. I don't doubt that at all. Because most horrible people I know do terrible things, and then they also give and give and give. I guess they're trying to make up for it. You know what I mean? I don't doubt that he's giving. I bet he is. Well, John, remember yesterday? We asked everybody in chat, should we take a field trip today and do his parole hearing in was it 8 years ago or whatever? I think he's in his 70s now. So he got locked up for, you know, the whole fiasco with his sports memorabilia and stuff, where he tried to break in and take it or rob it or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But he went to jail for almost 9 years. And this is his parole hearing to see if he gets out of jail. It's running. It's their video, not me.
Other state that would allow you to qualify for a transfer. But that's just the first part of it. First, we have to establish what your support system is and whether or not you qualify for that transfer. And then we make the determination if it's in your best interest to request that transfer for you. Once we make that decision, there's an offender application, which is a waiver of extradition, which is required to be signed before anyone is allowed to submit a request for transfer to another state. What that does is it outlines to you what the requirements of the compact are, that you're subject to terms and conditions not only by the sending state, which in this case would be Nevada, but also by the receiving state. If you were looking to join your family in Florida, that the Florida would be able to impose conditions on you that would be consistent in the same manner that they would treat one of their own offenders in a like. From the once that offender application for transfer with the waiver of extradition.
What it looks like, I don't know, but okay. We have one camera and one microphone system pointed at the panel, and a separate camera and a separate microphone system pointed at OJ and his table. And it looks like every time they try to cut from one camera to the other, two things happen. The volume is disproportionate. I think the camera and the volume for this panel is real high. So it did like scream at us at the beginning. If you missed the beginning, it got real loud when they cut to this camera. And there's a reason why I'm saying all this, don't worry. And then when they cut to the OJ camera, it gets real low. But it also messes up the VCR feed. Like, I don't know how it works. But all I know is when they're switching, it seems to freeze. So I am about to take my daughter to work. If they cut to this panel and it gets super loud, I won't be able to fix it. You'll have to watch the volume on your own devices and realize that it might scream at you. You might get screamed at while I'm gone. But at least there's one good news, okay? While I'm gone, there's one good news. I don't think we're going to have to deal with a sidebar today. Now, I really hope that this stupid panel does not prove me wrong and like say, okay, we need a minute to discuss what you just said, and then we just all sit around while I'm gone twiddling our thumbs. But it looks like at least for one day, we don't have to worry about sitting through a sidebar while I'm driving on the road and I can't do nothing about it. With all that being said, watch your volumes. I'm going to go take my daughter to work now. And I'll be back as soon as I can. Yeah, no shots today, Bobby. Bobby, no shots. We can't take any shots today because there's no sidebar. It ain't right. The world ain't right. So it looks like we have like 40 minutes to go on this. I should be back in time. I'm a little nervous. I should be back in time. And then we'll go back to the regular OJ stream for a little bit. Not too long today, but for a bit.
And the waiver of extradition serves the purpose that if for some reason you violate the terms and conditions of your supervision, you understand that Nevada has the authority to come and return you to Nevada to answer for those violations. Once we obtain that signed offender application, we will process that along with the other paperwork and documents that we need to submit to the other state, and they will then have up to 45 days to conduct their investigation on whether or not you qualify for the transfer and whether or not you have a valid plan of supervision. Once they determine that, their caseworkers will forward that through their compact office back to the Nevada compact office. And once we have a decision by that other state, then through your case manager at the state part works. We have pre-release specialists who work workers.
Once they make that determination, they process the information necessary. And in this case, if you were to apply for interstate compact, our pre-release specialists would be the ones to forward those documents to the other state for their consideration. Once the determination was made and once a valid plan was developed, then they would work with your caseworker to set up your release, and your caseworker would then manage the release through the Nevada Department of Corrections.
So,
Does the panel have any questions for Captain Arudi?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, Mr. Laverne, I'm going to refer to the two of you, you and Mr. Simpson. We'd like Mr. Simpson to be able to tell us anything else he'd like to tell us. We'd also like to hear from one of the supporters if one of them wishes to make a brief statement to the board. And we would also like to hear your statement, Mr. Laverne. So I'm going to put that back to you as to what order you want those two things to happen.
We're going to hear from we're going to hear from Mr. Simpson's daughter, Arnell Simpson, first, and then I'll make some closing remarks.
Okay, and Officer Batista, if you will make that switch for us, please.
Thank you.
Hello.
Good morning, ma'am, and if you will give us your name and for the record and your relationship to Mr. Simpson.
Yes, I am Arnell Simpson, my dad's oldest child of 4.
Hey, Ms. Simpson, welcome, and feel free to speak.
Thank you. I'm a little nervous, so bear with me.
So are we.
I know it's a lot. As you know, I'm here on behalf of my family for the purpose of expressing what we believe is the true character of my father. No one really knows how much we have been through this ordeal in the last 9 years. Excuse me. My experience with him is that he's like my best friend and my rock. And as a family, we recognize that he is not the perfect man, but he's clearly a man and a father who has done his best to behave in a way that speaks to his overall nature and character, which is always to be positive no matter what. He has spent the last 9 years in Lovelock, as we all know, and has been a perfect inmate, following all the rules and making the best of the situation, which is truly amazing to me under the circumstances. The choice that he made 9 years ago that resulted in the sentencing were clearly inappropriate and wrong and counterproductive to what he was trying to achieve. As a family, we were all there to celebrate a wedding of a very good friend. As his daughter, I can honestly say my dad recognizes that he took the wrong approach and could not handle the situation. He could have handled the situation differently. My siblings, I, and family know that he didn't make the right decision on that day, but we know that his intentions were not to go in and to just make the wrong decision at the wrong time. Throughout this ordeal, we have remained close. We have stayed strong. And I, for myself, am grateful to God for giving us the strength to get through this last 9 years and to stay positive always, no matter what. And a lot of that is because of him. So on behalf of my family, my brother, my sister, an aunt, an uncle, his friends, we just want him to come home. We really do. We want him to come home. And I know in my heart that he's very humbled throughout the situation. This has been hard. Let me be honest. This has been really, truly hard. And there's no right or wrong way to explain
how to handle this. But we do know that, oh, I know that he is remorseful. He truly is remorseful. And we just want him to come home so that we can move forward for us, quietly, but to move forward. So I thank you for allowing me to be here this morning. I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Simpson. We appreciate you being present and we appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
And Officer Batista, will bring Mr. Laverne and Mr. Simpson back to the table, please.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Laverne, this would be the time for you and Mr. Simpson to make any closing remarks that you'd like to make.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. Do you have a copy of a letter I provided through your liaison? It's an undated letter from Mr. Simpson to Assemblyman Osvaldo Fumo. That should have been provided to you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir, we do
So,
have that
all right.
as part of the record.
So give me 2 seconds to get set up here, because that's where I'm going to start. Did you take the letter? I can't find it now. Switch. So. And the letter, as you can see, is very short, so I think it would be appropriate just to read it into the record, if the commissioners would allow me to.
That'd be fine.
Okay. But the first thing I have to do is find it. Here it is. By way of setting this letter up, by the way, the most important part about this letter is that this was not a letter that Mr. Simpson provided to me, okay? What happened is Mr. Simpson at some point wanted me to communicate with an individual by the name of Osvaldo Fumo. He's an assemblyman now, and prior to that time, and still now, he's an attorney. And in the interest of full disclosure, he actually was one of Mr. Simpson's attorneys during the habeas proceedings related to this case. But since that time, Osvaldo, or Ozzy as I call him, he's a friend of mine too, he became an assemblyman with the Nevada legislature. And after that, Mr. Simpson sent Mr. Fumo a letter, and I found out about that letter not through Mr. Simpson. I found out about this letter through Mr. Fumo when I was advised to thank Ozzy Fumo for providing some books and some educational equipment to the prison here at Lovelock, Nevada. And so I'm going to read that letter. And by the way, Mr. Simpson did authenticate this letter this morning. I only produced this to him this morning when I got to see him prior to this hearing. He did indicate that he was the one who wrote this letter. And even though it's not dated, he indicated it was probably sent to Ozzy within the last 9 months or so. Dear Legislator Fumo, first of all, allow me to say how happy I was to hear about your new position as a state legislator, although I was not surprised to hear about your interest in furthering the education and helping of prison inmates. I must admit, I've always taken my exposure to education for granted, partly due to my prowess as an athlete. I have always been afforded opportunities for higher education. It wasn't until I got to prison that I realized just how many people did not have the exposure to said education, in part because of their circumstances, i.e. gangs, bad neighborhoods, lack of parental supervision, poverty, etc. But Ozzy, I can't tell you how inspiring it is to see how said inmates have taken advantage of the educational department and the advantages that it offers. I have seen a change in some inmates as far as their self-esteem goes that is amazing. They come to me to talk about subjects that they would have never even thought about before their exposure to education. They talk to me about things they want to do when they are released, things they never would have thought about they were capable of before. They say, quote, "You can't teach an old dog new tricks," end quote, and as a, quote, "old dog," end quote, my friend, I can tell you that is not true. I am currently taking a computer science course, or just a computer course that has shown me that even I am capable of learning new skills. These new skills, at the very minimum, will help me better communicate with my children. Who knows, you may even see a webcast or blog in my future. I work in the athletic department here at Lovelock, and I fully enjoy what I do and can tell you that this is very important for the inmates to have a release for their energy and for recreation. But I can think of no better place to use state funds than to educate, add to their self-esteem, and to prepare these guys for their eventual release. In closing, I want to tell you how much I look forward to following your political career and your participation in what I know will be a very successful prison educational program. Gratefully yours, Orenthal J. Simpson. And it's signed by Mr. Simpson. And the reason I wanted to read this to you is because, and just kind of surprise Mr. Simpson with it, is because obviously this is Mr. Simpson's, what I would consider one of Mr. Simpson's first opportunities to have clout in the political system of the state of Nevada. He pretty much has an end at that point. He has Ozzie Fumo, who they had an attorney-client relationship with, a very good relationship, and now Ozzie is in the assembly. He's in a position of power. And what does Mr. Simpson do? Does he say, Ozzie, can I have a better bed? Or does he say, Ozzie, can you pull some strings, get me out of here earlier? No, he doesn't do any of that. He uses that clout. The one time he has some clout in the state of Nevada, he uses that clout to obtain funding for books and education in this prison. And some of those men, as Mr. Simpson said, they really are going to get out and they're going to have a decent and a better life for themselves as the result of Mr. Simpson's efforts through Mr. Fumo. I think that's the definition of character. And frankly, I think if it was me personally, who had been in prison for 9 years, and frankly, forget 9 years, 9 days, if I had that opportunity in a position of someone in a position of power who could do something for me like this, I would be saying, get me out of jail, okay? But he doesn't do that. It is very, very, very selfless. He's thinking about the people here, and it's also the definition someone had asked earlier about being humbled and some humility. It also shows a genuine form of humility, that he has the capabilities to think of people here who are not as empowered and not as privileged as he has been, and when he gets out, probably will continue to be in society. So that's the first part of my closing remarks. The second part of my closing remarks is to deal with the other individual in this case that was a victim. He's not here. Mr. Fremong is sitting right here, and that's Mr. Beardsley. Mr. Beardsley, as you, I'm sure, are aware, is no longer with us. He passed away in about November of 2015. However, Mr. Beardsley and Mr. Fremong have made calls to my office, and I've spoken to them both at various points. And the last time I recall speaking to Mr. Beardsley was in September of 2011. This is not that long after I had maybe been representing Mr. Simpson for a couple of years at that point. I was a little uncomfortable that Mr. Beardsley, who is a victim in a case, and my client is considered the person who victimized him, was calling me. So I did explain to him that I wanted to record the conversation. He consented, and I asked him if he wanted an attorney before he talked to me. He said he was fine. I say this, I bring up this recorded conversation because I reviewed it in anticipation of this hearing, and that was from 2011, as I stated before. And since he's no longer here, I think I could just speak from the dead, speak from someone who's speaking from the dead. He indicated in no uncertain terms in that conversation that he had cleared up this matter with Mr. Simpson. He was trying his hardest to do whatever he wanted to get Mr. Simpson out of prison, and they had just made it right. Mr. Simpson had apologized to him, and they had just basically made it right. And he was and he had sent letters to Mr. Simpson, and Mr. Simpson hadn't responded, and that was probably on the advice of counsel at the time. And then also there was another issue and Mr. Simpson has raised this issue, and I want to emphasize this again, that Mr. Beardsley had a set of photos, and these are not memorabilia. Mr. Simpson, if he didn't make his point already, he could care less about some signed football or some signed photos. He could care less about it. He could rip them up and burn them up. I know they mean a lot to a lot of people, but that was not what was really the true impetus for what happened here. What was the true impetus is that there were intimate family photos that were taken from him, literally stolen. And there's no dispute that these would not be any type of judgment, collections. These are just intimate family photos. Mr. Simpson had a former family, he had a second family. There's pictures of him with his mother and other things, famous celebrities, and they were not subject to being taken. They probably have no value to most people, but they have all the value in the world of Mr. Simpson. They're not footballs, and that's what set it off. And Mr. Beardsley had these photos, or he at least represented to me on the phone that he had these photos, and I had made every effort that I could to try and obtain those intimate family photos that I was well aware were basically all Mr. Simpson wanted in the first place. Unfortunately, whatever happened, Mr. Beardsley was never able to get those to me. He explained that he had them, and I tried to make every effort to get those from him. And then at some point along the line, we lost contact, and then I just discovered that he had passed away. But I will speak on Mr. Beardsley's behalf from that phone conversation that at least as of September of 2011, him and Mr. Simpson had made things right. Okay? And finally, and again, obviously the commission is not used to hearing where victims are calling people who are in prison their attorneys and having multiple conversations with them. I've also had Mr. Fremont, Bruce Fremont, who's sitting right here to my left and will testify shortly. He's also called my office. He had called before many years ago, and we had spoken, and I can't necessarily remember the substance of those conversations. They weren't recorded, or if they were, I couldn't find them in my files. But he's recently called again. He called me on July 3rd, and he called me on July 14th, and both times I missed the calls, but I called him back. And I can hear that Mr. Fremont has made things, and Mr. Simpson have made things right with each other, that he's accepted Mr. Simpson's apology wholeheartedly. He seems to be a fundamentally really, really good guy who's fallen on some hard times recently. And he told me that he would be coming in and testifying favorably for Mr. Simpson. I made sure I told him probably 15 or 20 times to say whatever he wanted to say, because obviously Mr. Simpson's attorney talking to a victim, it could be interpreted the wrong way. So again, Mr. Fremont, say whatever you want to say. Nobody's telling you how to testify here. And one of the things that we did, and I did inform the parole and probation about both of those conversations on July 3rd and July 14th. And one of the things that we did spend a lot of time, I mean, that was a small portion of our conversations, was the remorse on Mr. Simpson's part that Mr. Fremont accepted. Most of the time we were talking about some other unfortunate things that happened with Mr. Fremont. I believe, I know because I've researched this now. There was some civil litigation that went on out there, and this was against primarily against one of the uncharged co-defendants in this case, individual named Riccio. Something happened in this civil litigation, and I don't know what's going on with it at this point in time, other than Mr. Fremont addressed those concerns with me. I told him that I would look into it. I explained to him that he really should talk to his lawyers who were involved in that civil litigation to try and make that judgment do whatever he wants it to do. And it was unfortunate. I believe that this kind of is an opportunity to show you that in the criminal case he's completely the victim, but he filed this civil lawsuit, and the jury actually found Fremont 16% liable for what happened here. It was pretty unique, to say the least. In any event, Mr. Fremont is going to testify, but I did feel that I needed to note that I don't think I have a point to prove with Mr. Fremont, other than he did represent that he was going to testify favorably for Mr. Simpson, and that he did discuss with me on multiple occasions this idea of some civil judgment out there that he was hoping that Mr. Simpson could take care of for him. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Simpson, did you have any closing remarks?
I hadn't heard any, except that, I've come here, I've spent 9 years making no excuses about anything. I am sorry that things turned out the way they did. I had no intent to commit a crime. I came here, I tell the inmates all the time, man, I don't want to hear about your crime. Argue in court. Here we're all convicts. I'm a convict. Do your time and don't do anything to extend your time. I told the warden when I got here, Mr. LaGrange, I think it was, Ms. Carpenter and Ms. Megan, that I would be no problem. I believe in this jury system. I will honor what the jury said, and I will be no problem, and I think I kept my word. As I said, I've done my time. I'd just like to get back to my family and friends, and believe it or not, I do have some real friends, but I don't think I could have represented this prison. I don't think any inmate has ever represented it better than I. I did my time. I tried to be helpful to everybody. And as I said, Bruce and Beardsley, I made up with them years ago, you know. So I'm sorry it happened. I'm sorry to Nevada. I wish Riccio had never called me. I thought I was glad to get my stuff back, but it wasn't worth it. You know, 9 years away from your family is just not worth it. And I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just one more thing for the record. Your expiration is, as of today, 9/29/22, and for all those people in the world wonder how that adds up to 33 years in the state of Nevada. Good behavior, complying with the rules, can mean up to a 50% reduction off the back end of your sentence. If granted parole, that September 29, 2022 time could even move closer. So I wanted to put that on the record. And at this point, I'll ask Officer Batista if you will move Mr. Laverne and Mr. Simpson again, and we invite Mr. Furlong to the table, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Furlong, if you will put your own name on the record for us, please, and then proceed.
Yes, it is Bruce Furlong, and I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak today. First and foremost, I'd like to state that I'm not here just as Mr. Simpson's friend of almost 27 years, because that I am. But today I'm also appearing as the victim of the crime on September 30th, or September 13th of 2007. On that day, I felt that Mr. Simpson was misguided, not by himself, but also by Tom Riccio. He was led to believe that on that day there were going to be thousands of pieces of his personal memorabilia, pictures of his wife, from his first marriage, pictures of his kids, Arnell and Jason, family heirlooms. He was told there were going to be possibly his wife's wedding ring, thousands of things. He was misled about what was going to be there that day. A man named Thomas Riccio had promised him this big package. In reality, Thomas Riccio had never met me. Never had met me in his entire life till the night of the robbery. He got there and saw all this stuff. He went down, he got OJ, and instead of telling him that that's not what was there, he brought him up anyway. And when OJ got there, unfortunately he was already worked up and had people with him that were hollering and screaming. There was a lot of commotion going on in a very, very small room. Real small room, wasn't it, OJ? And a lot of things happened very quickly. And unfortunately, if OJ had just said, everybody out of here, Bruce and I need to talk for a minute, none of this needed to happen. But that didn't happen. And it took, one of the things I want to make clear is that it took me 2 years in a California court, because in a judge's infinite wisdom, instead of going ahead and turning things over, everything got sent to a California court to get straightened out. And after having to fight the Goldman's lawyers, OJ's lawyers, And it took me 2 years to get back with over 600 items. A majority of it did come back to me because I had to go back 19 years through our friendship, but I had to go back 19 years, produce records for almost 98% of the stuff. And it is true that items in that room belonged to OJ. There were no two ways about it. But it's also true that I have never stolen anything from OJ. I have never stolen from OJ. I think OJ will admit that I did not ever take anything from you. It wasn't me. An ex-partner of mine and his mistress, Christy Lukemeyer, have taken things. Other people have taken things from OJ, but I have never stolen from OJ. OJ is my friend, always has been, and I hope will remain my friend. But there were things in that room, and I admit to that. And I'm sorry things did not work out differently. But there were, and I will make this clear to you, OJ never held a gun on me. There was a coward in that room, a man named McClinton, came up gangster style, acting like a big man. He held the gun on me, not OJ. Another man came in, hit me, not OJ. He never laid a hand on me. A lot of people are yelling, bag that stuff up. Let's get out of here. During the trial, after I'd already testified against OJ, and this is why I absolutely believe him, after I'd already testified against OJ, I'd already said everything I had to say, we happened to pass each other in the hallway. And OJ came up to me and said, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" And we had a chance to talk to each other. And I told him I'm sorry that I did not get the opportunity to call him and tell him that I had that stuff. Those few items that belonged to him, I told him I'm sorry that I did not take the opportunity to call him, because we'd been apart for a long time. We hadn't had a chance to talk for many, many years. And I'd been buying stuff from Mike Gilbert, and I wish I had of. And he said, "Bruce, I can't tell you how sorry I am." And we've got a saying between us, it is what it is. And he put his hand out, I shook his hand, and I said, "I forgive you." We all make mistakes. OJ made his. He's been here, and from what I've told, he's been a model inmate. He's been an example to others. During the trial, I recommended that he serve 1 to 3 years. That's what I recommended to the DA. And I'm here to say that I've known OJ for a long time. I don't feel that he's a threat to anyone out there. He's a good man. I know that he does a lot for other people. And I feel that 9.5 to 33 years was way too long. And I feel that it's time to give him a second chance. It's time for him to go home to his family, his friends. This is a good man. He made a mistake. And if he called me tomorrow and said, "Bruce, I'm getting out. Will you pick me up?" Juice, I'll be here tomorrow for you. I mean that, bud.
Thank you. We appreciate your comments, and we appreciate you being present today. Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity.
So Mr. Laverne, and you're welcome. Mr. Laverne and Mr. Simpson, if you'll return to the table, please. we will break for deliberation, I want to ask the panel members if they have any other last questions, anything that, okay. What's going to happen now is deliberation. Again, another thing we do with every single case, but a little differently today, because frankly, we need our offices back, folks. So we're hoping to deliberate, come to an agreement, and be able to produce an order sometime in the next 30 minutes or so. So what's going to happen is we are going to break, and then after deliberating, we'll come back to this room. I'll ask each commissioner to vote. I'll vote myself. If we are able to agree when those votes are cast, that will be a final decision. If it becomes obvious that there is a split on this particular panel, I have Commissioners Eddie Gray and Commissioner Michael Keeler stand by in Las Vegas, and we will call them, they will either cast a vote then or ask for to return to deliberation. So that is what we're planning at this moment. We are about to leave the room. I know Officer Batista is going to arrange to clear the courtroom there also. I ask that here that you give us about 2 minutes to clear out of the room so that you're not chasing us down the hall. And then we'll give you a 5-minute notice that our deliberation is over and that we're ready to cast votes. So on that, I will call this hearing into recess, and we will return after deliberation.
Of course. Of course. Of course this happened. I don't know why there's a big dip at... How long has this been like this? Did they give a well, we know that he got out, but what I want to know is, did they say it here, or did they say they had to think about it? Did they say, yes, we're releasing you today, which they did. I don't know about that day, but sorry, Nan. I'm sorry. That was my fault. I shouldn't have took a field trip. When everything is timed perfectly, I should not have taken a field trip. That was stupid. Let's get OJ on. I'm finding it. Oh, I should have it already up. So yeah, so when I started the OJ trial, you know, I wasn't an Uber every morning for my daughter. My daughter didn't have a job. And we're so close to the end. Look at how many videos we've done. I can't even get to where we are. All right, 400. We're at 450. I passed it. There we are. I'm fixing the size, don't worry.
Taken by Mr. Romano was strike that. How does the tag in the photograph taken by Mr. Romano compare to the tag on people's 401? The article that you hold in your hand.
It has the same characteristics of the beige background. I can see some printing. I can see some burgundy printing, but I can't read it in this photo. But there's definitely something with a burgundy cast in it, which is this is what it is.
I'm sorry?
It's basically what you're seeing is this.
For the record, the witness is holding up 401, Your Honor, to the Romano photograph comparing to these tags image.
Yes, thank you.
Now, when you first came out here to testify, you were made aware that Nicole Brown purchased 2 pairs of 70263?
Yes, I was.
Sustained.
Well, let me show you the receipt, 372B.
Yes, I'm familiar with this.
Okay. By the way, did you have any discussion with Mrs. Brenda Bimich regarding this particular receipt?
Briefly.
You don't work for Bloomingdale's, is that right?
No, I do not.
Now, we accounted for 2 pairs of style number 70263.
Objection, vague argument. Sustained.
Oh, have we accounted for 1 pair of brown style number 70263 gloves?
Objection, argument. Sustained.
Are the black gloves that you just saw in the Romano and West photographs style number 70263?
Yes, they are.
I'd like to show you a frame from a football game played on January 5, 1992. Frame number 25862.
All right, which exhibit is this from?
It is a new exhibit, Your Honor.
Next in order.
Okay. It's part
614.
It's part of the same disc.
Same. This doesn't help me.
All right, 614, Your Honor. Is this a frame that you've seen before, sir?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And have you examined it?
Yes, I have.
Have you examined it carefully?
Very.
what characteristics, if any, do you see in that glove that is characteristics that are consistent with style number 70263?
This is the clearest and best shot that I have seen of the process sewing on the fingers, but I can also see the image of the 3 points, but just the 2 characteristics. But this clearly is that continuous ridge of sewing that is indicative of style 70263.
And to go back to the tag for a moment, you pointed out the tag in the Romano photograph, and you also pointed out the tag on 401, the gloves, the new gloves the defendant tried on here in open court. Is that right?
That's correct.
There's only one tag on a pair of Eris leather lights?
In the left hand.
Let me show you the left-handed glove. I don't see the evidence tag. The glove recovered at Bundy. Does it also have an Eris tag
Yes, it does.
in the left glove?
Yes, it does.
And how does that tag compare in appearance to the tag on the Michael Romano photograph?
Same location, same size.
Can you tell us whether or not the glove worn by the defendant in Steel 25862, People 614?
Objection, Ray. Finish the question.
Finish the question. Can you tell us whether or not the glove depicted in People 614 is an Eris light 70263?
The key feature of the sewing on the fingers indicates it is style 70263.
Showing you the glove tried on by the defendant, 401. Both the crime scene glove at Bundy, the glove found at Rockingham, and directing your attention to the glove shown in People 614 here on the screen.
Frame 25862.
Are each of these gloves same style number?
They all appear to be the same.
Are they each Eris gloves?
Yes, they are.
Style number 70263?
Yes.
Size extra large?
All of them.
The 2 gloves in front of me are marked extra large. They are extra large, and I believe that the gloves in the picture are extra large, knowing the fact that I did measure the defendant's hand.
Let me ask you to step down and take a look at the photographs marked 612 A and B. The photographs taken by Deborah Gadara on December 23, 1993. And that would be a little over 6 months before the murders, is that correct?
Objection. Sustain.
Are these photographs that you've seen before?
Yes, they are.
You've examined these photographs before?
Yes, I have.
Do you see any characteristics in these particular gloves that help you to determine whether or not the defendant is wearing style number 70263?
On this particular photo, there doesn't seem to be any decorative stitching on the hem or any stitching on the hem. There are 3 needle points. And on the left hand, you see a little bit of the ridge on the tip of the finger, very fine ridge, continuous sewing. There's a slouchiness in the leather, which is characteristic of that particular style. It's not as good a photo as some of the other photos or videos, but there's nothing here that leads me to believe it would be another style in 70263.
Directing your attention to 612, the first photograph, to your left as you face the board. This slouchiness, to what do you attribute that to?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the way you hold your hand. When you move it, your fingers back a little bit, it's a little slouchy, and when you curve your hand, you seem to tighten up in the glove. But basically indicates that the gloves had been moved back and forth, and you're going to get some of that slouchiness, because every time you wear a pair of gloves, they're going to stretch a little and compress a little. So when you move your hand back and forth, you're going to get a little bit of that bagginess.
So the more you wear them, the more they stretch.
Sustained rephrase the question.
Can you tell us whether or not the gloves stretch, that is, the more you wear?
They will stretch somewhat, but these particular gloves do have memory. A lot of it comes back, depends upon how the person holds their hand. But they do have a lot of stretching.
Does it also depend on what the person does while wearing the gloves?
Yes, somewhat.
Objection. Overruled. Pass or stand.
Now, let me ask you to retake the stand. When was it that you were sent copies of some of the videotape and some of the photographs you've seen here in court?
I received the first set of photographs, I believe it was July 3rd.
And when was the first time that you saw the Gadara photographs, 6/12?
I believe that the Gadara photograph arrived September 5th. They called me to notify me that they were sending another photo to me after I left here on the 31st.
Sustained. Next question.
Okay, so you received the Gadara photograph around September 5, correct?
Yes.
Is there anything about the brown gloves that you've seen the defendant wearing that would suggest to you that they are anything other than 70263?
May phrase the question.
Are all the characteristics that you've observed in the brown gloves worn by the defendant consistent with style 70263?
Overruled.
Yes.
Can I have one moment, Your Honor?
Certainly.
I'm about done.
Let's take our recess at this point. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the noon hour. Please remember all my admonitions to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Don't conduct any
But Judge, I was riveted. I was riveted.
deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you. Don't allow anybody to communicate with you with regard to the case. We'll stand in recess until 1 o'clock. Let me see counsel without the court reporter. Mr. Rubin, you can step down. 1 o'clock.
Keep the noise down.
Please keep the noise down. This is not a media circus. It's a courtroom. Sir, is that a cigarette? It's a courtroom.
All right, back on the record in the Simpson matter. The defendant's again present before the court with counsel. People are represented. Jury is not present. All right, Mr. Darden, are you ready to conclude your direct examination of Mr. Rubin?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank
All right, Deputy McNair, let's have the jurors, please.
Hustle, Deputy McNair. Hustle, hustle.
All right, let the record reflect that Mr. Richard Rubin is again on the witness stand undergoing direct examination by Mr. Darden. And Mr. Darden, you may conclude with your direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor, and I will. Good afternoon. Mr. Rubin, I wanted to ask you some questions about the wear and tear, if any, on these particular gloves. If we assume, we'll strike that. Now, there's been testimony in this case that Nicole Brown purchased 2 pairs of gloves on December 18, 1990.
Yes.
Okay. And I believe you offered some testimony with regard to the style numbers Bloomingdale's carried back in December 1990 when you were first here. Is that correct?
Thank you. Yes, I did.
Okay. And they did carry this model, the 70263.
Yes, they did.
We've also shown you today photographs and video of brown gloves worn by the defendant on January 6, 1991, correct?
Correct.
And December 25, 1993.
I don't think it was December 25th.
I'm sorry, December 23rd, 1993.
Correct.
Okay. And that would be the Gadara
Yes.
photos shown here.
Yes, that's correct.
Where would you, we'll strike that, where would you first expect to see wear on those gloves, if any?
Speculation, no foundation. Foundation.
Well, you told us that you manufactured these gloves.
Yes, I did.
You helped design these gloves.
I designed this particular glove, yes.
You also sold it.
Yes, I did.
You handled the marketing.
Yes, I did.
Did you attempt to assess the life and durability of the glove once it was sold into the general public?
Life expectancy and wear and tear was a major concern of our company because it was our reputation. And in regard to this particular pair of gloves, the wear and tear would show up first in the lining.
You wouldn't expect to see the wear and tear first on the outside leather portion of the glove?
You would not.
And you looked at the lining of the crime scene in Rockingham glove when you were here last, is that right?
I've seen the linings many times.
In fact, I think you removed the lining from those gloves, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Did you note any wear or tear, or any evidence of any wear or tear on the cashmere linings of the Rockingham and Bundy glove?
In both articles, there actually is no excessive wear and tear whatsoever present.
Okay. And what does that indicate to you in terms of how often those gloves were worn?
They were not worn every day in the winter for year after year after year at all.
And were these gloves sold for $55 on sale at Bloomingdale's in December 1990?
The original price was $50.
Sustained.
Well, you sold the gloves to Bloomingdale's, is that right?
Yes, I did.
They were exclusive to Bloomingdale's.
Yes, they were.
And did you discuss with Bloomingdale's the price at which the gloves would be sold?
Sustained. I think we've already had testimony, though, from the people at Bloomingdale's as to the manufacturer's suggested retail price, the sale price.
Thank you, Larry. And
We
with
saw
regard
the
to the black
factory.
gloves that you've seen, okay, the Stewart West photographs, the Romano photographs. You were shown photographs taken December 23, 1990, and in January 1994. Is that correct?
I'm not sure of the exact dates of the photographs on the black gloves.
Does the date indicated 12/25/93 on the West photos?
It is.
And on the Michael Romano photographs, is the date indicated to be January 15, 1994?
Yes, it is.
And on the Mark Kruger photograph, are the dates indicated there?
Oh,
Is that December 29, 1990?
Yes, it is.
What would you expect to see the wear and tear in that particular glove?
I don't really see any.
excuse me. Overruled. You can answer that.
Could you rephrase the question, Your Honor? Could he state the question, please?
Where would you first expect to see the wear and tear in the black gloves?
Initially, the wear and tear would show up in the lining.
Now, is there a certain machine that sews this brochure stitch?
It is a Brosser sewing machine that was made by the Singer Sewing Machine Corporation. To the best of my knowledge, the model was 46K30, and it was produced around World War II for the last time. So, to my knowledge, there has been no Brosser sewing machine produced in the last 45 to 50 years.
Okay. And you told us that this particular type of stitching is rare.
I
in
produced
gloves,
one
men's
last
gloves.
week,
It's
sir.
very rare.
Okay. And how rare are these machines nowadays?
Currently, I was able to find out that Aris Philippines had 37 machines. Has 37 machines, of which approximately 20 to 25 of them are operational. And of my personal knowledge, going back to 1990, of the 11,000 employees of Aris Philippines, only 10 people were qualified to sew that stitch on a glove.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Mr. Blazer? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Rubin?
Mr. Blazer?
Oh, a Reuben sounds so good for lunch right now, doesn't it?
Mr. Rubin, have you tried to be completely impartial in this case?
Absolutely.
You haven't been currying favor with one side or the other?
Absolutely not.
You don't have any agenda here for one side or the other?
I do not.
You haven't tried to shade your opinion in any way to favor one side or the other?
Absolutely not.
Now, on July 3rd, you were sent pictures from, in fact, all the pictures here, you were sent back on July 3rd before the prosecution finished their case, correct?
That is incorrect.
You were sent pictures from Mr. Renkin, from Mr. Kruger, Mr. Schott, Mr. West, and Mr. Romano, correct?
I believe that's correct.
Okay. And you
Yeah,
were told
but-
beforehand that you were going to be getting some
But
pictures
they weren't of a glove, sir. They're irrelevant.
that the prosecution wanted you to look at, correct?
Someone left a message in my office that a package was forthcoming, yes.
Now, I'm sorry. Had they shown you a videotape prior to that time?
No, they had not.
Had they told you there were videotapes?
I don't recall the conversation regarding videotypes at that point in time.
And you answered that letter before the defense started calling witnesses, didn't you?
I'm not,
You answered that letter on July 6th, didn't you?
yes, I did.
Before July 12th, 10th, I'm sorry. You FedExed that letter to the prosecution?
Yes, I did,
FedEx generally takes 1 day.
to the best of my knowledge.
Now, in your letter to the prosecution of July 6th, you told them at that time that the pictures from Renkin, Kruger, Schott, West, and Romano, that it was your opinion that those were the Eris Leatherlight style, correct?
I believe I did.
You didn't equivocate on that, did you?
Gosh, he
I
looks
actually,
so different.
either in telephone conversation, I'm not 100%.
Doesn't he just look so like a different person completely, like a grandfather and a grandson in the last video? I'm still stuck on that kid, that guy having 30 babies.
knowledgeable of the letter because I haven't seen it, but I did ask them at least over the phone that I wanted to see enhanced blow-ups, and I'd like to look at some of these things in the negative or on a small monitor.
Did you indicate in your letter on all 8 photos, none of the detail that can be seen indicates that the gloves could be a style other than 70263?
I did.
You were indicating unequivocally that in your opinion, from those pictures that you had last July, it was an Eris glove, correct?
That's not the case. What I meant by that statement categorically was that I did not see any features in any one of those photos that would indicate there would be any other style that I had knowledge of. That's what I meant by that statement.
Remember us asking you yesterday what you meant by that statement?
Yes, that's exactly what I
And
said.
You didn't indicate to us that what you meant by that was that it was your opinion back then that from those pictures you could make an identification that those are Eris 70263.
I felt I could, but in context, I wanted to see more detail.
All right. Did you tell us yesterday that you had decided that what you meant by this sentence in here, that you decided back then that your expert opinion was that those were the same style glove?
I was not 100% sure at that point in time.
I don't even know what the
Did you
question
tell us
was.
yesterday that that's what you meant by that sentence?
What?
Sustain. Phrase question. Did you tell us yesterday that what you meant by that sentence is what it says, that you could, that in your opinion, these were the Eris style gloves?
What I meant,
Excuse me. Oh.
what I meant by that statement categorically was that the features that I could see in the pictures, not one feature would lead me to a non-70263 Aris Light style. That's what I meant by the statement.
By the statement you made yesterday to us.
Yes.
Now, when you wrote that letter to the prosecution back on July 6th, did you include as part of that letter? If you should have any questions, please feel free to contact me at any time. Please thank everyone for their hospitality during my visit. Maybe I can make it to the victory party, exclamation point, exclamation point.
Correct.
Now, is this party being planned before the defense started?
This statement was made in jest, no differently than on the first day that I testified here. As I walked out, I wished Mr. Simpson and the crowd the best of luck. It meant nothing.
Had the victory party been planned before the defense started?
Absolutely not.
Were you expecting an invitation to it?
No, I was never expecting an invitation.
Do you consider yourself a member of the prosecution team at that point?
No, I do not.
Now, did you also indicate in that letter, in a PS, at your convenience, could you obtain business cards from all the members of your staff, as I want to make one, only one, piece for my office as memorabilia of my experience? Please include Mr. Hardsman and Ms. Clark.
Yes, I did.
Now, you were planning to construct some sort of memorabilia for your office, for your customers to see?
I have probably 300 envelopes that have been sent to me around the country regarding this testimony. Most of them I haven't even opened yet, and I was planning on actually taking one article, putting some business cards in it, and framing it and putting it in my office as a remembrance of this experience. That's all it was.
Cards from the prosecution?
Yes, yes.
I don't think that testimony means what this lawyer thinks it might mean. That's a normal thing. Doesn't mean he wants one side to win or another. That would be a normal thing to do.
Now, Mr. Rubin, you were with Eris from what year to what year?
I started selling Aris gloves in 1976. I left in 1990.
So that was 14 years?
A little bit longer.
And you're primarily in sales and marketing, correct?
No, I was actually part of the management team. I ran the men's glove division, the wholesale division, and had some other responsibilities.
Now, you said you actually manufactured the gloves yourself, I think, on direct. Did you mean that?
Not physically.
Were you part of the manufacturing process where you'd get in there and see and work the machinery and see how it worked?
I spent approximately 300 days in the Philippines during my career there.
Now, you have been completely out of the glove business since the middle of 1990, haven't you?
That's correct.
And would you agree that your primary experience with Eris was in sales and marketing?
That was the primary function of everybody at Aris Isotoner.
You weren't there running the plant on a day-to-day business, right?
I was not responsible for the day-to-day operations of Aris Philippines.
Now, have you ever been asked to testify as an expert in any other case?
Never.
You've never been disqualified as an expert?
Never.
Now, would you agree that there are many, many people in the glove business that have far more experience with gloves than you?
I would not agree with that.
You know Mr. Richard Zuckerwar?
Yes, I do. I know him personally.
You think you have more experience than him?
In regard to men's gloves,
In regard to gloves?
I would say that in the overall glove industry, Mr. Zuckerward is one of maybe 4 or 5 people that has tremendous experience. As far as men's gloves in sales, marketing, design, and production, I feel that my experience regarding Aris product is very excessive as far as his knowledge, and in the overall production, sales, and marketing of men's gloves, I feel that my knowledge is excessive of his.
Gloves in general?
No, men's gloves.
How many years experience does Mr. Zuckerwar have? Do you know?
Probably, I don't want to date the gentleman, but I would say that 35 years
And-
experience.
And by the way, do you have any other glove
If
experience?
he has a felony, I'll date him.
Spell his
Sorry.
name for the record, please.
Sorry.
Zuckerwar,
Thank
I
you.
believe. Do you know Mr. Joe Alusi?
I do not.
You know who he is?
I do not.
Now, do you have any other glove experience other than the 14 years with Aris?
Can you be more specific regarding glove experience? As far as from a manufacturing point,
He wore
referring to
gloves
Aris or
when
to
he was
other
a
outside
baby.
facilities?
Right.
What do you mean by this?
Let me rephrase that. Do you have any experience at all with respect to other facilities besides Aris? Have you ever worked for a glove company other than Aris?
No, but I have worked with many outside sources of glove manufacturing outside of the controlled and owned operations of Aris.
Now, you say work with, you mean to attend conventions with and talk in terms of sales, that sort of thing?
No, I mean actually going to their factories, developing product, planning production, designing new styles, taking customers to certain facilities, very wide scope range.
What other companies have you designed styles of gloves for?
Well, specifically in the casual end of the business and some dress styles, a company called Palace Industries, which has did have operations in Thailand, still does, has operations in China, now Vietnam, and also Taiwan. And then I also had experience in working with the Hungarian government in approximately 7 different factories throughout Hungary. I've worked in Czechoslovakia. I've also bought and visited factories in Taiwan and Korea, and actually was part of the team that set up a factory in India.
Now, this is part of your employment with Aris, correct?
Yes.
It's not separate employment.
No,
You've never worked for another glove company, have you?
no, I have not.
Now, one of the parts of your testimony here is that the Brosser stitching that you've described that Aris uses is unique, is the word that you used. Did you mean unique to mean it's only one of a kind?
It is not one of a kind. These machines were produced from approximately the early 1900s up until World War II, and I'm sure that their machines exist all over the country. I just don't know where.
How many gloves are manufactured in the world in a year, roughly?
In today's times,
Yes.
I really don't have any idea.
How about when you were in the business?
On a worldwide basis, I really don't know. I did know what we manufactured, and we had estimates of what other manufacturers in the United States sold.
Give us your best estimate.
In men's gloves, my best estimate in 1990 was there were approximately 6.5 to 7 million pair out there.
And that's not counting any foreign producers.
Well, excuse me, all of these gloves were produced outside the United States.
Okay.
But they were for sale here in the United States.
Okay. How about gloves for sale throughout the world? Do you have any idea how much more that would be?
I really have no way of judging that number.
Presumably a lot more than the 6.5 or 7 million.
I would assume so.
Now, would you agree that brown is probably the most common color for
No.
gloves, men's gloves?
No,
What's the most common color?
black.
Now, would you agree that the vast majority of men's gloves have 3 lines on the back? They're called backing, aren't they?
I've never heard that phrase.
Silking,
That's better.
okay? Vast majority of men's gloves have those 3 lines on the back, don't they?
3 decorative points of some configuration, yes.
Now, you indicated that one of the reasons that Aris used that particular stitch was to separate those Aris gloves from the run-of-the-mill gloves that you might find in Target or Kmart or other large retail outlets. Is that fair?
That really wasn't the basis for it at all.
Well, I think you said that it was to distinguish that glove from the less expensive gloves.
In general, the combination of the sewing machine used, the point configuration, the blind hem, and the weight of the leather and the weight of the lining was what was put together as a package to create an exclusive product. But it wasn't just the one element.
It's for a high-end market, wasn't it?
The $50 and over market is very, very small.
It was a high-end market, wasn't
Yes.
it? Now, there are a lot of exclusive stores throughout the world, in New York, all over the place, that sell high-end leather goods like gloves, correct?
I don't know how many stores would carry high-end leather goods, including gloves.
Okay, so you don't have any information on that.
No, I do not.
There are other more expensive high-end gloves out there besides Aris, correct?
Absolutely.
Now, you made some effort to try and find out what other manufacturers in the world might have used Prosser stitching and produced gloves without stitching, correct?
Yes, I did.
And how many different companies did you check with?
I only checked with 2.
There are a lot more companies than that in the world, aren't there?
In the world, yes.
Now, did you ever check with any glove companies in Europe or Italy?
No, I did not.
In Europe?
No, I did not.
Other glove companies other than the 2 that you've told us about?
No, I did not.
And what are those 2 companies?
Founds Gloves, Fownes, and Mr. Zuckerwar's company, Grando Gloves.
And Grando does produce a glove with Prosser stitching, doesn't it?
They told me that they had produced a glove with Prosser stitching a couple of years ago in small quantity.
And they had it in stock.
They didn't mention that to me.
Okay. So the only 2 companies that you checked with, one of them does this stitch, correct?
1 out of 2.
Now, do you have any idea how many other glove manufacturers there are in the world?
I have no idea.
Would you agree that there's over 100 other glove manufacturers, various parts in the world? I'm sorry, go ahead.
When you define glove manufacturer as anybody who is manufacturing quantity and distributing it on their own, a person who has 6 employees in a small shop technically is a glove manufacturer. So I would say in places like Italy, Hungary, and certain other Eastern European countries, there could be hundreds of manufacturers. They would relatively be quite small as far as production.
How many of those have Prosser machines?
I have no idea.
Now, you know that you've seen this stitch on an Italian glove some years ago, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
From a small company?
I don't know what company it was from.
Have you made any effort to contact Singer to find out how many other machines there are throughout the world?
No, I have not.
Are there any other machines that can make a stitch that looks like this stitch?
This stitch is a very fine whip stitch, and the machine that I'm familiar with that does make a stitch that's similar is called an Osan sewing machine, and the one I'm familiar with was made by a company called Treasure.
And can that make a stitch that looks like this?
Similar, but not the same.
Different in what way?
The Osan sewing machine normally runs at about 10 to 12 stitches per inch. The Brasa sewing machine runs at twice that, and the difference is in the bite. It's a whip stitch, both of these are whip stitch type machines. In the bite, you get a high-low effect on the Osan stitching machine, and you get a larger seam than you would on a continuous seam and fine seam on the Brasser. But to a layman, the stitches would appear to be somewhat similar.
Can the Osan machine do a 22 stitch per inch stitch?
I'm not a technician. I am not sure if it's capable of making a stitch that tight or not. I've never seen Aris production or some other people's production with Osan do over 12 stitches to the inch on an Osan machine.
Did you ever make any effort to find it? And incidentally, Osan machines are fairly common, aren't they?
Within Aris, the largest amount of gloves that were out on the marketplace were Osan.
Other companies have Osan stitching machines, don't they?
I believe they do.
It's a common machine, isn't it?
It's a common machine readily available.
You familiar with the Bonus Golden Series Never Stop machines?
I've heard the name Bonus, but I'm not familiar with the machine.
Let me show you a flyer for that machine.
Objection. Familiar with it.
I'm sorry?
No. Objection. He's been relying on it. He's not familiar with it.
Oh.
You take a look at that and tell me if you're familiar with that machine.
Oral. Question is he familiar with the machine?
Since I never really looked at the numbers on the machines that were at Aris Philippines for style, I've seen similar machines to this with the wheel. I'm very familiar with that.
Okay.
It's very common. But I don't know for a fact that it was a Bonus BG12 machine.
All right, so the machines you've seen, they can do 25 stitches an inch, can't they?
I've never seen them do 25 stitches to the inch.
Can they do 25 stitches an inch?
I could not state that to this court if I had not done it myself.
Can that machine do 25 stitches an inch?
According to the flyer, this
Hold on. Sustain.
You know where I that mark, please?
Yes. Mrs. Robertson? 1372.
So I take it then, other than calling two companies and asking them specifically about the Brosser machine, you've made no effort to find out what kind of other machines might make a stitch that fine.
I have not.
Now, the two companies that you contacted, did you just ask them about the Brosser stitching?
Well, in regard to Founds, I asked them if they had any of the equipment. They told me no, and that was pretty much the end of the conversation. And I do have friends that work there, so we may have discussed other things that I'm not aware of. In regard to my conversation with Mr. Zuckerwar, a technician within their company was in the room and mentioned the style number or the,
Objection, non-responsive.
Ask your next question.
I don't remember what I spoke with them about.
You didn't ask anybody about the 3 lines, the silking on the back, did you? In terms of how other people may or may not use that.
I did not discuss anything other than the Brosser.
So you've made no effort to find out how common or rare the silking is, and that's the 3 points on the back.
I think I earlier stated that it's very common.
Now, you're asking questions about glove wear, and I think you indicated that they wear out from the inside first.
This particular style.
Okay. And is that because of the cashmere lining?
That's because the cashmere lining was underweight by design, and cashmere is a little bit more fragile than most materials that we use for linings, and only using 1 thread of cashmere versus 2, we were concerned about wear and tear on the lining, and that's why in this particular style, the wear and tear would first show up on the lining.
Now, you live in New Jersey, I believe.
Yes.
Is that very close to New York?
Yes.
Gets real cold and wet in New York in the winter, doesn't it?
Unfortunately, in the last couple of years, it hasn't, and, but on occasion it does.
Snows there, rains there.
On occasion.
People wear gloves there, don't they?
Yes, they do.
It's a much more intemperate climate than Southern California, correct?
Yes,
Would you agree that people that live in New York in the winter wear gloves more often than people in California?
I would agree with you.
The more you wear gloves, the more you would expect to have indications of wear, correct?
That's correct.
On the inside, on the lining.
On this particular style.
Now, you indicated to me yesterday, did you not, that you were surprised at how little wear there was on the inside of the Bundy and Rockingham gloves?
Yes, I was, considering the condition of the gloves on the outside.
And is it not your opinion, or isn't it your opinion, that that is probably because whoever wore those gloves on a regular basis had relatively small hands?
Hold on. That's not exactly what I said. What I said to you out in the hallway was that the person that wore the gloves either wore them on brief periods of time or they fit that person very comfortably. They were not the wrong size.
You didn't make a comment to me about someone that didn't have large hands, wore those gloves because of the almost no wear on the
No,
lining?
I stated to you that the person that wore these gloves fit into these gloves without any strain on the lining, which would cause excessive wear. I spoke to you more about what would cause excessive wear versus what would cause less wear.
What did you tell me about large hands?
Regarding what? Regarding what?
Regarding the lack of wear in the lining of the evidence gloves and your statement that that's an indication, one of the inferences you can draw from that is that they were owned by somebody with smaller hands. It didn't stretch them out.
The person that I stated to you that the person that wore the gloves did not have larger hands than the glove size itself.
All right, was the point you were trying to make that a person with larger hands is going to fill out the gloves and there's going to be more wear on the lining than someone whose hands are smaller?
Yes.
Now, there were indications of wear on the outside of the gloves, correct?
On the right hand, very much so. On the left hand, some.
And you testified to that before. You recall that?
Yes, I did.
So your experience is that gloves should wear out from the inside out, correct?
There's no way to determine the exact time frame of how long a pair of gloves would last, but it's a personal thing, the way a person uses the gloves, the way the gloves fit. You could wear them 1 or 2 times, get caught in a snowstorm, and change a tire, and the gloves are pretty messed up. There's no way of telling.
You're speculating now, aren't you?
Yes.
Isn't it fair that one reasonable inference from the fact that these gloves are more worn on the outside than the inside is that a person who owned them had small hands that didn't fill them out and cause the inside to wear?
I couldn't. I couldn't confirm that statement.
You can't make that inference at all from what you told us?
No, I can't.
I'm getting really hungry.
Mr. Rubin, you,
What do you guys
when,
eat for
when did you
lunch?
get here, by the
I
way?
need ideas.
Last night, or 2
I
nights ago?
arrived here Sunday at noon.
And from the time that you arrived here until you were in court yesterday, some of that time was spent with prosecutors looking at pictures and videos again?
Yes.
And while you were in the process of doing that, you noticed on one picture...
You know what would be really great for lunch? If a business, if a restaurant would sell meat bites, I want a bite of linguine with chicken and Alfredo and broccoli. I also want a bite of a little steak. I also want a bite of a ham and cheese sandwich and a Reuben, French fries, onion rings. I don't want a full order of everything. You know what I mean? I just want a little bit of a whole bunch of different things. Why can't I have that?
That there appeared to be a defect on one of the brown gloves in the pictures, didn't you?
That's not correct.
Did you not see what you thought might be a defect?
Now, what I stated to Mr. Darden was thought I saw a shadow that I would like to look at the gloves in person to see if I could detect a defect.
Right? You saw a shadow that you thought might be a defect, correct?
Not a defect, just a marking.
Well, you told him it might be a defect, right?
I think that's his terminology, not mine.
Did you?
All right. I was thinking about food and I got lost in gloves and food. And I misplaced time, but only by 2 minutes. Right? Yeah, the stream ended 2 minutes ago and I just kept it going. Because I like to steal your time. I like to pretend your time is just mine to spend as I want. Guys, thank you for coming out today. I hope you enjoyed the parole hearing. We got to hear O.J. Simpson speak about crimes. Go get yourself soup and sandwiches. And I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you real soon. I hope that you guys have a great day. Thanks, guys. Bye.